Welcome to the second Teaching Excellence series for spring of 2016. I'd like to welcome Dr. Candice Thomas-Maddox, who's going to be presenting about engaging our students with various technology tools. So, Dr. Thomas-Maddox.
Thank you guys for joining me on a Wednesday afternoon. I've got to be upfront with you. I was just telling Paul, a lot of the technology that I hear the word technology, and over the years I've worked with, I was one of the first people to work with the OULN system, if you're familiar with the televised system next door. I'm always that person that volunteers when they come out with a new version of Blackboard and Athens, and they say, is there anybody that wants to be part of the test pilot group on a regional campus? And I raise my hand, and I got to be honest with you, a lot of this is just, I see things and I go, shiny. I want to try it and I want to see if it works. And I will tell you, over the years, I've tried things that work and I've tried things that students just go, fails miserably. The thing I think all of us have in common is that money's pretty tight. So when we look for technology to use, it's thinking about what we can find for free. And so the three technologies that I'm going to talk to you today are absolutely free. I'm just going to introduce them to you, show short little video clips that they're the demo clips that are provided by the manufacturers of the technology. And I'll show you a brief demo of how they work and talk to you about how I use them in my classes. So my question is this: how many of you, is this a familiar scene in your classroom where you sit there and students, and I will tell them, like, if you're looking at your lap during my class, I know what you're doing, so please put your cell phones away. And over the years, I just keep saying, put your cell phones away, put your cell phones away, put your cell phones away. And I've got to be honest with you, it was probably 3 or 4 years ago when I went to the OTEC conference, which I think was just this past week, this current week, just ended yesterday. OTEC is Ohio Technology and Education Conference. It's held at the Columbus Convention Center. Fantastic conference. Literally what they do is stuff that I'm going to show you today. That's the kind of technologies that they showcase. Obviously they have vendors that for-profit or paid technologies you can use, but it's a huge showcase over 2 or 3 days where you go watch demos, listen to people talking, and the whole focus is on how do you incorporate technology in the classroom. I will tell you, the one thing about that conference that really strikes me that we as educators in higher education need to think about, most of the teachers at that conference are K-12 teachers. And they are like, oh my gosh, like they just incredibly tech savvy in how they incorporate technology in the classroom. And I think that has serious implications for us, because when that generation of learners ends up in our classrooms and we're still talking heads, they're going to be incredibly bored. So we've got to meet their needs. What I say is we have two choices. We can keep yelling at them and try to ban the use of technology in the classroom, or we can try to embrace it and use it to our advantage. So baby steps, I've been trying to embrace it and use it in my classroom. Like I said, what I'm going to talk about here are 3 different technologies that I'm currently using in my classroom. Over the years, I've used, I'm trying to think of the one, I can't think of the name of it now, where students would take out their cell phones and they could, it's basically a brainstorming technology. I'll get the name of it for you.
Poll Anywhere?
What is it?
Poll Anywhere?
No, it's not Poll Anywhere. It's literally, they type, and as they type, their comments show up on the screen.
Oh.
So it's almost like a giant bulletin board that they pin up their ideas, but they do it using their cell phones. I stopped using that because students said, if they didn't have their cell phone with them, or it was text messaging rates because they would text their answers, and this was probably 3 or 4 years ago that I used it. I could probably use it again because so many of the data plans, it's inclusive, but they said, I don't want to text that and use up some of my text messaging minutes, that kind of thing. So right now, 3 that I use in my classroom are Plickers, Remind, and Seelio. One that I didn't put on here when I put together this presentation, but if we have time at the end that I'll talk about, is Pinterest. And we think of Pinterest as something for recipes and fashion and household tips, but there are teachers K through higher ed that are using Pinterest in very unique ways. So we'll start off talking about Plickers. Plickers is basically an alternative to the old-fashioned, which Patrick, you used in your class. Do you still use the
No,
Plickers?
but yeah, no, I don't use those anymore. But I know what you're talking about, of course. Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about? The response system, the response classroom response systems where you had the clickers and you would put your quiz up there, and you had to distribute, like you've used. I've never used them in the classroom, but you would distribute the little devices to the students, and
the batteries would die, and
you have to worry about them sticking it in their backpack. And some universities would sell them. I believe in Athens, some classes, students were required to purchase them in the bookstore for $5 or $10 for a class, and then they would have to bring them to class, but they would forget them, and a whole host of issues. This is a classroom response system. I'm going to show you the intro video or the demo video by the vendor so you can see kind of how they describe the highlights of it. This actually isn't by a vendor. I believe this is by an instructor who decided to, I don't know why she made the video, but it's, let's see, we'll launch this, launch it in Chrome. Maybe. All right, so you saw on the screen, literally, it is minimal cost. I print out, I'll show you when you set up your class, you'll come in, you'll see I set up a class, it's just called OUL Faculty, but you would come in, click add a new class, you name it. Since I have multiple classes, I usually color code my class, but you put this information in there. I've already created a class for OUL faculty. So once you create that class, you can upload, copy and paste a class roster where it says add roster, or I can add a student's name. So for example, I'll put Patrick Drum, hopefully, and you should have a number 6 on your card. Let me pass that down to Ping one. So you all have, I upload my class rosters. I did use this for the first time in fall semester, and on the first day of class, I just ask Amber, I say, Amber, can you print these out on cardstock so they stay sturdy? On the back, I print each student's name that corresponds to their number, because once you do this is their number for the semester. I keep a copy of the original sheets that I printed out in my office, so if a student loses theirs, I can go print another copy on a piece of cardstock. But I tell them, tuck this into your notebook, bring it with you to class each week, because you never know when we're going to use it. Literally, all you need to have is a mobile device or an iPad or a tablet. You download, there's a free Plickers app that you download onto your phone, and then you can literally, I forgot to tell you this step. See right here where it says cards?
Yeah.
This is where you'll print them. You click it, and it gives you several different options. You can print them so that they're on half sheets of cards if your class is smaller. I printed them on this today, and this is when I use these in the fall. The class that I teach is Comms 1010, so I had 60 some students down in room 211. And because the room's much larger, I used a bigger card, but you can print them out so there's 2 to a sheet, and then you can cut them in half. You choose what format you want them to be in. The first day class, I instruct students literally what you just saw on the screen. I say, take a look at your card. You'll notice that one side is an A, one side's a B at the top of the square, one side's a C, and one side's a D. When I post a question up on the screen, I want you to look at your card and make sure the letter that corresponds to the answer choice that you want is on top, and hold it in front of you. You do have to tell them, please hold the card by the lower corners, because if they put their hand anywhere on the card, it keeps the device from reading it. So I'm going to go to live view here, and we'll test this out and see the way this works.
Where do you input the question?
Very good question that I did not answer. You go to your library.
Yeah.
And so you select, like I select my OUL faculty folder, and I just enter my new question. So once you enter your question, if it's a poll question, you can select true, false, or you can check multiple choice questions. If there's a correct answer to the multiple choice question, obviously you'll mark it. If you just want to do a simple poll question, you don't select an answer under multiple choice, and it just gives you a gauge of how many answers. Once you type in the question, so how loud is the noise outside? And you can go annoying, not a problem, and then what noise? You have a choice. You can, if you have multiple questions, you can hit save or just simply save. Let's see here. I'm not sure why this isn't. Let me try this again. So I have the app on my phone. When I come into the app, there we go. There we go. What is your favorite season? If your answer is A, and if you see my phone, literally what happened was I just pulled up my Plickers app on my phone. It said, what class do you want to scan for? So since I have multiple classes, I chose OUL faculty, and then it gives you a button here, which library of questions. So if I can create libraries. I can say chapter 1 questions, chapter 2, chapter 3. And then you just open that chapter of questions, you touch the question on your screen, and then it'll say scan now. So I pushed scan now. I didn't push that before. So now it says scan now. So choose your answer. Then literally all I'm going to do on my cell phone, I'm going to push this blue scan button. And at that point, I literally go around the room. Turn yours toward me. For some reason it's not picking yours up more. Did it get you?
Your hands on.
Oh, your hand's on. There we go.
Light.
There you go. It was just your hand was on the corner of it. So now I have everybody's answers. And we see in here that 3 of you, fall is your favorite season. Let's see, 1 of you likes winter, and 3 of you, your favorite season. Nobody likes summer?
Too hot.
Oh, summer's mine. Summer's mine. So you can do it that way. You can hide this panel so that students, I learned this, that I was giving them in one of my classes, we did a review exercise for the final exam, and so I had sample questions, and I had not hidden the screen. So what they were doing is they were waiting until other people answered and then logging their answer, because they and I said, okay, wait, I've caught on to you guys now. I'm not gonna let you see the answer. Let's try another one. Let's see here.
So do you scan every single one when you have like 60 students?
Yeah, if I have 60 students, the really cool thing, let me do this one and I'll show you, because it's, you know, when you do a simple poll question, it doesn't really give you the stats that you want. How about this one? When you're ready with your answer, hold up your card. Susan, there we go. So the really cool thing is you can print out reports on this, it saves it. So in my Comps 1010 class, what would happen is at the end you can see which students were there. When I enter in my rosters, they're in alphabetical order. So with 60-some students, I think it's 67, 68 students for an in-class activity, I didn't have to take attendance. I could do a poll question. They get in-class points for activities in my class. I could literally go in here and just pull this up on one screen, pull up my Blackboard grade book on another screen, and go in and give them their 5 points of participation in class if they happen to attend class during that time period. So the unfortunate thing here is when you show this screen, they see immediately if they got the answer incorrect. So you may want to instead do the graph, and then from the graph, reveal your answer. So you have two options. This kind of makes them feel uncomfortable if they see that they answered it incorrectly. Yeah. Not a good strategy to use. But again, you can use this one and actually hide the answer on that. You can sort by card number. You can hide the answer on here so that all they see is that yes, my name is checked on the screen, so I know that I'm here if you're taking attendance via this method. You can sort by card number. You can sort by last name in there. So whatever way is easiest for you to organize it, it's pretty cool. So we'll do one more and test your knowledge here. Let's see. That was the Harold Hall question, right? Okay, here's a good one. What was the student enrollment during the first semester that OUL offered classes here in Brazy Hall?
When you have a class of 60 students, how long does it take to do the scanning?
Not long.
You just kind of move your phone?
Yeah, this is kind of awkward since I'm having to go around a table.
Yeah.
But literally, if I say, okay, hold them up now, and rather than backtracking, I'll say, hold them up now. I give them like, say, choose your answer, hold them up now. Everybody hold them, and literally, if I go like this,
just waving your phone.
It's like this, and then I'll say, look for your name. Is your name, and is there anybody your name or your number's not checked? And if not, I know I've caught them all, and they're ready to rock and roll. So if you want to not avoid calling them out and making them feel self-conscious about the incorrect answer, you can go to the graph. Nobody picked 717. What I can tell you is one person got this answer correct. It was 821 students here during the first semester that Ohio University Lancaster was open.
So Occupy Wall Street could have used Plickers instead of the megaphone.
They could have used Plickers instead of megaphone. You got it.
Democracy.
There you go. But I use it, like you saw some of the examples up there of pre-assessment or exit tickets if you want them to answer questions so that you know at the end of class whether they comprehended what you taught. Did they get the main point? If not, that gives you a starting point for your next class period of where to review information. I would use it in my 1010. I would ask them at the beginning of class, this was part of their in-class assignment or participation points, if you will. I would ask them 3 questions at the beginning of each class that pertain to the last class session. So they knew that was coming. It was always questions that they would get from reading the textbook. So if they happened to miss the last class session, they weren't completely out on, and even if they got the answer incorrect, the fact that they were there, they got their attendance points for that class session. So you can use it for attendance, you can use it pre-assessment, exit tickets, making sure comprehension of questions. And like I said, unlike the traditional, what was it? Oh, it was Turning Point.
Turning Point.
Turning Point was the name of the company that a lot of them, where you had to buy the clicker sets, and those were, how expensive were those? Those were, you guys wrote a grant to get.
1804 grant. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they were. So the fact that they had to put together a grant to get it tells you they weren't cheap. You were constantly replacing batteries, and this is a really quick and easy and free way to do really the same, or I'm sure there's some differences, but you can get very similar results. Like I said, if I'm down in 211, timing it, and if the students are all seated, facing you, not going around a table like this, I can probably go like this around 211, and in that much time it records all their answers. So, and it's very, really reliable, as long as they keep their fingers on the bottom corners of the cards and they're not covering any part of the
Is it possible, Candice, is it possible to make the display larger, like with that control scroll thing? Or
that's a good question. I don't know. When you say control scroll.
Yeah, if you hit control and on
There's
the
your
mouse,
answer.
there you go, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I did not even know you could do that. So yeah, you can make there's your answer. You taught me something today because I had no clue you could do that. So.
Do you use this for actual grading when you give these pre-tests and post-tests, or is it just more for
more participation and more feedback from me? Like when I would go in, it was really feedback for me. So for example, if I covered a core, the lesson was on maybe nonverbal communication, and I say during the last class period, we talked about the technical names for the study of how you use different channels of nonverbal communication. Does anybody remember, which of the following, and I give them a question about chronemics. And I would go, whoa, they don't remember the technical name for certain areas. I may need to review that today at some point, or just remind them that this is gonna be on their celebration of knowledge at the end of this group of chapters. So.
But theoretically, you could do that, right? Because you're recording it for each individual.
Yeah,
student.
you could do that theoretically. Yeah, because I've not played a lot with reports. There's a score sheet in here now. This is a brand new feature that literally probably 3 weeks ago they sent me that said, by the way, we have this new feature called score sheet. Well, let's do this. Wait a minute, let me do this. So yes, you'll see what percentage. So Victor, Victor, you got 100%.
Overachiever.
Now we can't really assess, as you see, the first question was a poll question, so there's really no point value there, but it will give you, and it'll say overall only 14% of us knew what the student enrollment was when Brazy Hall opened. So make sure you cheat off Victor on the next quiz.
You see where I'm sitting?
He's got his OUL history down pat. So again, if you have questions about this is my second semester using this technology in class, so let me know what your thoughts are. If you need help setting it up, I'm more than happy to help you do that. The second technology that I want to talk with you about is Remind.com. Do any of you currently use Remind in your classes? No? I've been using this now for about 2 years in my classes. I will tell you, my husband who teaches here, he jumped on the bandwagon because he teaches primarily online courses. And what I will tell you from my experience teaching an online class, Students who do poorly in the class usually don't do poorly because they've tried. They do poorly because they've just plain forgot about submitting assignments by the deadlines. I don't know, have any of you had that experience as well? Yeah. They forget, and then you get the plethora of emails like, oh my gosh, I missed last night's deadline, can I make this up? That kind of thing. Remind is a fantastic way to remind students of upcoming deadlines, because what I found is they don't read their emails as much as they pay attention to this. What Remind does, it's a communication tool. You can send them text message reminders about deadlines and due dates. You can also, they have recently added new features where you can attach documents if you want them to read something before class and you're afraid that they will forget about it. You've posted it on Blackboard, they may not go to Blackboard. If you attach it to your email or your text message, they will click on the attachment, open it up, right? Right?
Now,
Oh, you're
can
laughing.
you set this up ahead of time? or
Actually,
would you- Okay.
Uh-huh.
Because
Yes,
I would
because
need someone to remind me
Wow.
to send a reminder.
exactly, Christine. So they've added a feature on this. When it first launched, it was developed by, I hope I don't get this incorrect, 2 Michigan State graduate students, and it was part of their master's project in the College of Education. They designed this initially for K through 12 teachers to interact with parents and send parents text message reminders about their children or their students' due dates. They found that a lot of college instructors have adopted it for their classes, again, for a lot of online instructors. Believe it or not, a lot of coaches. I've had, obviously they're K through 12 teachers that coach for my son's teams. They will use remind.com to remind students and parents about practices, because it's an opt-in program. So if your students are afraid they don't have unlimited data on their text messaging service, they just simply don't opt in. And what I tell my students is, if you don't opt in to the reminders, you're responsible for reminding yourself, whatever way that may be. The new feature they've just added too is two-way chat. So when my students get a text message reminder from me that says, don't forget chapter 4 quiz is due at the beginning of class prior to the beginning of class on Monday, I've actually had students this semester that'll text me back and say, they can send me a text message this way. You never see your students' cell phone numbers. They never see your cell phone number. It's all done through online that you send them. Like you see up there, phone numbers are kept confidential. You can schedule reminder messages in advance for people like Christine and myself, because when I used this, was it in the fall, or I think it was in my summer class, and a student came back to me, and I didn't schedule, it was before they added the schedule them in advance feature. You didn't remind me, you used to send me reminders about this, and you're not reminding me now, which is probably, they should be responsible enough, I know, to do this. But what I found in my online classes since I've been doing this, the number of students that just flat out forget to turn in an assignment has absolutely plummeted. They remember now to turn in their assignments. The downfall of this is it's kind of like Twitter in that you're limited to 140 characters per message. I will show you, let me see here. Get out of that. This is Remind. You'll see here, we use it right now in APO, and this was Alpha Phi Omega here on campus. The students said, you know what? If you send us a text message reminder about a meeting being tonight, we'll be there. But we may not check our email throughout the day and we'll forget about it. So, for example, Christine, your question, in Comms 1010, you'll see here, I have 13 scheduled announcements. And so, oh, there they go. So what I did, see, it's control. I'll try to scroll in so you can see these a little bit better. Maybe that was too much. What I did was I sat down with my syllabus when I created my syllabus, and I went in and I simply programmed, it's the same message. You see there, it's just Comms 1010, chapter 15 quiz due at 9:30 tomorrow, and I put the date in there. I tell it what date, what time I want it to launch. You see, I just automatically said the day before, 1:30 p.m., automatically send a text message to students who have subscribed to this, send them this message. I send a message to myself as well. I subscribe to it myself so that my phone goes off and I make sure that I see that the message went out, and it's pretty cool. You'll see here when you create a class, it's extremely simple. I just say create a class. We'll call this I'm going to call this Christine CTCH 1250. Okay. You can then enter a class code that's easy to remember, and it will tell you, so, nobody else has that, so I've chosen that I want CTCH, scroll a little bit, so that you can see that. I create my class, and it gives you these instructions. So you can, I will post on my Blackboard site, and I also email students an explanation. I say, if you want to opt into this program, it's free. I promise you, I will never see your cell phone number. You will never see mine. All you need to do is text at CTCH 1250 to this number, 81010. So they text that, they're automatically added to your roster.
You keep using that code each semester.
You use that code.
So you, okay. Cool.
Yeah, and I will show you what you need to do though. It's a really good question, Christine. You keep the same code every semester, so I've had this comms 1010 forever. What you do is you go into your participants. Wait, I may be wrong because I usually have to look. There's something that you can delete them over here, remove them from the class, and you can remove. There's actually there's a group one in here somewhere.
Okay.
But you can remove the entire class at the end of the semester and launch a new class roster.
Wow.
So you can see, it's kind of cool because I have this semester, you'll see I have, I think 30 students in my Comms 1010 class. Only 17 of them have opted to sign up for the text message reminders. Again, what I tell them is, if you don't sign up, I can't remind you. So, yeah, it's kind of cool. Then when you go in here, there's some other things you can, when you go to your announcements, you can phone or email invites to them. So if you have your Blackboard roster, their Oak ID, their email addresses, you can email them an invite directly. What I usually do is I do this printable PDF, I do a screenshot of it, and I post it on the front page of my Blackboard. It says, what it is for that particular class. It'll give them the code information for that. Questions about that? Yes.
When you send out your messages to your class and then an individual student sends a message back to you, is that just to you or is that to the whole class?
Just to the source.
Okay.
So if a student wants to chat with me, like you can see here, this happened in APO, let's see, the chat that happened in APO was I'd sent out a reminder. And back, he said, I was wondering if the volunteer website is up and what the link is for it. And I can go in here, I can either respond on my phone and it goes straight back to David, or I can respond via computer and it sends a text to him.
Oh.
So you're getting these as text messages?
Correct.
So it is coming into your text.
They're coming in as text messages on my phone. Yeah. So I really like that he put his name in there because otherwise I probably, are we in the upstairs or downstairs party room? And I say downstairs party room. I asked Jeremy, everybody's paying for their own food and movies. So it's a great way. I think when David was sending me these, I was probably out at my son's basketball game and I didn't have to be at my computer and he didn't have to wait for a response to the answer to his question. So that was pretty cool. So this was, I set up an OUL faculty, but there's really, I was going to have you guys text now so you join the group, but there's really, it's fairly self-explanatory. The last one is Seelio. And what I will tell you about Seelio, many years ago, probably 10 to 12 years ago, Ohio University and the College of Business, they set up what was called an electronic portfolio template for all of their majors. They did away with it. I don't know why. And what Seelio is, Scripps College of Communication in Athens, I found out about this through them. They have contacted Seelio, and if this is something that interests you, I don't believe it's any cost to the institution. You just need to let them know, I want you to set up groups for my class or for my major. What this is, it's an online free e-portfolio system for students to showcase their work. Like you see, they can showcase their work and their achievements. What happens is when they create a Seelio, it gives them a URL that they can put at the top of their resume. So rather than having to create a hard copy of a portfolio, when they submit their resume, a student has this code up there. If an employer is interested, they just type that in and they automatically can go and have open access to that student's portfolio. We encourage students, right now we use it in our Comms 1020 class, which is Introduction to Undergraduate Studies in Communication. I'll give you these are some of the documents that we share with them. The students are required to set up the shell or the background for their Seelio, and then throughout the semester we encourage them to put up examples of their work. Since this is an intro level class, what we found is that waiting until their senior year to create an e-portfolio or even create their resume was really too late for a lot of our students. Quite frankly, they're incredibly stressed out at that time, and they go, oh my gosh, as I start to put together this stuff during my senior year, I realize either A, I've lost or misplaced some of my important or my proudest accomplishments, works from classes, or B, you're asking me to upload examples of stuff. I don't have anything to upload. And this really encourages them to think about the endpoint throughout. I'll show you a couple of features of it here in just a moment. Another thing that we're really starting to talk about in comms is that it helps students connect their learning to employable skills. And what we use in 1020 is we tell them, when you post a work up there, just like you put tag words in your abstract for them to search for your document in the library, or key terms, you put tag words on here. So what we're trying to, they're still having a tough time getting it. We give them, these are your core competencies in this course, and we say by the time you graduate, these are the core competencies you should have as a communication studies major. So you should be able to, your public speaking skills and your group communication skills. So what we do is, each assignment you put up in here, or each work that you post in here, we want you to tag it with words. And that lets us see, are they recognizing what their transferable skills are in the workplace, how to sell themselves when they talk to an employer, like, here's an example of this work, and this really showcases my ability to effectively diagnose team group communication issues, or effectively analyze family communication problems, whatever that core competency or skill is. By requiring them to put tag words, it kind of really hopefully forces them. I say hopefully because we're still, this is something we've had challenges with them. It's a free account. When you go in and you set it up, let's see, let me show you in the open. Well, let me show you this first. These are some examples of student works, and then I'll show you how you set up your Seelio. These are students from our Comms 1020 class in fall semester. One of the things we tell them when they go in at first, I'll show you Kim's, is pretty good. What they have to set up, they have to go in and they set a background banner up here, and we tell them, remember, this is what you're showing employers to showcase you professionally, your skills. So don't put something stupid up there, like you at a concert, or I don't know, whatever it might be. One of the requirements, believe it or not, is they have to put a portfolio photo or a profile photo up there. And we even go through, you'll see on the one sheet that's in that packet, we give them instructions. We say it should not be something that it's obvious that you like cut other people out of it. You need to make it a professional face on shot, that present yourself in a great light. Don't have beer t-shirts or anything else on in your photo. What would you want an employer to see? So their very first assignment that we give them is they have to upload the profile file, they have to upload the background photo, their name, their institution. Believe it or not, we have to even tell them your degree is not BS in communications with an S, it's communication, singular. They have to write their about statement about themselves. This takes them some time because initially they want to say, my favorite group is my favorite movie, and we're like, no, this is not Facebook. This is your professional portfolio. So you see here, I feel strongly about something. Most people tell me I still maintain that balance and embrace all parties before jumping to conclusions. So she's talking about some skills that they may not see in a resume. Then we have them identify specific skill sets. So a lot of times the first thing students in our class will say, communication skills. I'm like, no. They know you have communication skills. I want you to identify what are specific skills. So we talk about that. We talk about what are career interests. So one of the assignments they have to do that assists them in filling this in is they have to do a career search and look for terms, job titles that they might search for if they were actually looking for a job. And so that forces them to think in, what are my transferable skills? What are specific skill sets? And that's very different from what my job titles or career interests are that I'm applying for. Then you see here, so they can then upload, PowerPoints, they can upload videos that they've done for classes, they can upload copies of papers that they've completed. Since this was an introductory level class, what you see, she's primarily uploaded papers for classes. She did upload a PowerPoint. It was a movie analysis that they did. But the key terms here, I know this is difficult to see: human rights, social and economic justice, research, communication, social media, human behavior in the social environment, business development, entrepreneurship, women's rights. So it's really forcing them to think about how would you categorize or label these works if you were to showcase them for a potential employer. So this is Kim's. This was, like I said, this was a pretty good one. Another one I'm going to show you just to show you know, Jeannie has, this is an example of a speech that she delivered as Ohio FFA district president. She has examples of her paper, and again, it showcases her public speaking skills to potential employers. They can see, is she a dynamic speaker? You see some of her skills that she lists. The organizational communication I would switch out because it's so broad and vague, but problem solving, leadership, some of the entrepreneurship, facilitation skills, that type of thing she's interested in. So this is, it's a free, students can log in for free. This is an example of a student from WVU. One of my good friends and colleagues facilitates all the Seelio portfolio over there. This is a senior level student, so you can see she has a whole host of materials in there, even talking about her time with the WVU band. She does research in social media, so a lot of what she's posted in here, her works. Rather than, what I like about hers is rather than simply uploading the paper, she's built in a cover page that has an icon. You click on it, and then you can see, this was focus group work that she did, but some of these you can, there's a copy of her paper there, but it's much more appealing to see an icon on the front screen than that. Show you when you set it up. I've set up my own page just as an example for students. It's very much just, you click in the box, click edit, I type in my one-liner in 140 characters or less, my summary, I upload my resume, any contact information I want to put in there, and I click save. So one of the things we do with students is they do have to upload their resume. You can see it's there. So again, for a potential employer, they could make an initial email. I'm interested in this position. Let me send you a link to, if there are any openings available, I can send you a hard copy of my resume. But in terms of assessment and evaluation, I've included a rubric here that we use. We actually did not create this on our own. This was created by Seelio. There's a plethora of instructors' resources available. If you contact them, they are phenomenal. They will do tutorials with you, one-on-one. That's how I learned how to use it. Literally in 1 hour, I learned how to use this. I contacted them. I said, I need help. I'm not very tech savvy in terms of understanding all the bells and whistles. And they said, do you have an hour? We'll have one of our trainers contact you. I sat on my computer at home. She called me. We walked through the whole thing, and literally in an hour, I was up and running on it. So that was pretty cool as well. So again, questions about Seelio or how we use it? Yeah.
So this is an assignment, right, for the student in that?
Yeah, and it's an assignment. It's really cool because it's an assignment that spans the entire semester in that class. So they keep putting they can put their papers up there to archive it. One of their assignments, because it's an intro class, we say create the shell of your resume. Don't wait till your senior year to create the shell of your resume. Create it now, and then you go back in and add as you experience work. So they have their resume in there, and it really encourages them to start thinking career-wise what they can do with this degree sooner rather than later.
So is there like a course in the curriculum later on, like in their junior or senior year, that actually addresses like right now on the job market or something like?
There's not. And see, we didn't have a course built into our curriculum that talked about job search or any of that, and that's why we were like, holy smokes, our seniors are graduating and they're coming to their advisors panicked, like I need to apply for a job and I don't know what I'm doing, and how do I put together a resume, and if they haven't been in a class where they've put together a resume. So literally in Athens, they said, we've got to start this sooner rather than later, and it's Intro to Communication Studies. It's a 1-credit course. They complete it online, and the reason they complete it online is a lot of it is this, and we take them through, like I said, one module is how do you find career interests or job titles that you would be eligible to apply for in your field, and we direct them to the Job Occupation Outlook website by the U.S. Department. And then we say, think about your transferable skills, and so each module they have to go through these, and it's all designed to help them put together the pieces of what eventually becomes their Seelio shell.
So like OU is a participating institution, right? So
Scripps currently is. I don't know if other colleges in OU do or not. That would be something to ask your home department in Athens. How we found out about it was literally Scripps sent we're on a listserv for Athens and regional campus faculty. They include us on their listserv, and they sent out an email saying we've partnered with what they do in Scripps is it gives you the capacity. They've partnered with Seelio in the sense that they can create class groups in there, but you can manually create class groups as well. There's a feature you'll see in there, it says groups, and you can say, it requires you to search for your students and create that group, like OUL history might be your group, and then you just tag them and invite them to be a part of your group. What they do in Scripps, because they have this agreement, is we just say, they ask us, what class are you using this for? We tell them the class. They just automatically add the students from the roster. So
yeah, because I wonder if there are ways to kind of restrict access from like the entire world, because this is open access, right?
Yeah, it is open access.
If you're on LinkedIn, you can say I want this level of privacy.
Yeah.
But this is all open, so
it is all open. And that's one of the things we continually remind them is this is your professional image out there. Whatever you post up there, make sure it's something that you want to be representing you.
Right.
So you ask a really good question, Pingwan, and that's I don't know if there's the ability to set privacy settings. You know what, there is, because you can keep things. I think it's just privacy to you. I'm not sure though. That's a good question. I'll check and let you know if you can keep it private, like limit, like LinkedIn, limit who can see your profile and your information. I don't know.
Yeah, because if everything's just like out in the open, then I don't know, there might be some conflict of
Oh yeah, exactly. Like I'm apprehensive about putting my video, my speech out there because
or a paper that
Yeah.
could very likely be plagiarized.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Very good question. I'll check on that and let you know when I find out. So again, that's, we're out of time. Like I mentioned, I had mentioned that if we had time to talk about Pinterest, that may be for another. What I will share with you is this. If you've not been on Pinterest and searched for your discipline, search for it. I was just playing around. I was entering psychology and social behavior, and links to just hundreds of things came up. I did history of covered bridges, and again, photos and infographics and links to websites and all that came up. So Pinterest is not just, do any of you have a Pinterest account? Am I the only, you have Pinterest? Yeah. I mean, there's this, and when I talk about it in my meeting and event planning class, they have a Pinterest project they have to do, which it serves as an archive for things they find on the internet rather than copying and pasting a bunch of URLs. And what they have to do, they have to plan an event, and they create a Pinterest board for their event, and then they have to put the descriptors in underneath. I will tell you, I don't mean to be stereotypical, but typically the males in the class get Pinterest. That's like recipes and fashion, and I'm like, no, it's not. And then I've had so many students in the fall semester, male students, come back and say, you don't know how many times I've used Pinterest or looked at Pinterest for things like interviewing questions, resume templates, all kinds of resources out there for them. So take a look at articles that focus on Pinterest and education. Just the final word, these are 3 of my favorite sites to go to. Like I said, over the years I've tried different types of free technology. Some work, some don't. Free Tech for Teachers is actually by an instructor. He creates a blog, and you can see he puts links to different things. He writes very short articles about them. You can view his archives when you go to the side here. You can see all the articles that he's posted. But it's all kinds of tips for instructors on using technology. This one's really cool. I kind of started messing with this one yesterday as I was putting together this presentation, and again, shiny objects, being distracted, I had to keep forcing myself, no, stop playing with it. This one's really cool because now it's a little dated. This is from 2013, but it archives or it coordinates the technologies based on what you want to do. So if your goal is, if you need to do free surveys, polls, or quizzes, they're all grouped together. If your goal is screen capture, if it's doing text to speech, or in my organizational communication class, students have to create an infographic. It's an intro level class. What they have to do, they have to create an infographic. What can you do with a communication degree? As you scroll down, you'll see. So if you want to do infographics, here, 18 free technology websites you can use. If you want to do speech tools, and you keep going, 300 and some of these digital storytelling tools, and he includes all the links to them. The final one that you see here, Edutopia, I subscribe to both their Twitter feed. I'm on their Twitter feed, I'm on their Facebook page, and again, it's just tips for technology to use in your classrooms. So, questions, discussion?
This is the first few minutes. So, Flickr, is it free?
Plickers?
Yes.
It's free.
Okay. So
Yeah,
just
it's
create
absolutely.
an account and then
Create account, and it takes you less than 5 minutes to create an account. Yeah, it's super cool. Yeah. Well, thank you guys for joining me today.
Thank you.